Okay.
This is
Oh,
being live stream. Got it. Oh, good. We're going straight to live. All right. Awesome. Let me pull up our YouTube so you can see it.
this is you.
Ah, and get with the Howards part two in the house. And see, it says we're live. And let's take a look. So you guys
Hi,
see us live?
Marcus. Yes, we are live on the YouTube. We
Uh,
just have to share it to the
mhm.
Facebook.
Okay, come on in, everybody. Come on in, like and share, like and share. This is Hanging with the Howards, part two. It got so juicy last week. We weren't able to finish all the questions. And then Fatima dropped a beautiful sharing bomb on us. And she's going to share today that she took her ring off twice. She's going to share why and then how they were able to restore, the love, the trust, the deep connection. We want the tea, but we more importantly, we want to know how to heal that because most people
Yes.
sometimes don't make it back from those type of moments. And she is being so brave to share this with us. So thank you in advance, Fatima and Levon, being so, just, upfront with us and sharing that because so many people have this notion that everything is just hunky dory the first year. You're just having sex and you boo loving and paying a few bills and visiting. Right? But it's
That's what they think it is, Focus, but it is not always peaches and cream like that.
yes, which is a good tool to have in a bedroom, but that's not what we're
Yes,
talking about today.
right.
Okay. So yes, let's jump on in. What would y'all like to say to y'all wonderful fans, family, and friends? And then we're gonna jump right on in.
Yes, yes. So thank you so much again, Focus, for allowing us to do this, have this conversation again. So
Yeah.
kudos to you. Shout out to you. Always rocking with the Howards. And before we, even get into that question, want to just say thank you to our viewers, our followers for joining us for part two of this juicy conversation. Man, we're still living off of part one about how good it was. So thank you to all of those who subscribed, who commented, who liked this video. We want you to go ahead and do that again. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share it with someone that may be new and newly married, or thinking about marriage. They need to be in this conversation. So before we even start, let's go ahead and share it to all of our platforms.
Yes,
My
I'm
husband is doing
sharing.
it right now. He's sharing it to
Yep.
our pages and everything. So we're going to go ahead and share it. Again, we've been sharing it all day, all week. But we're going to go ahead and share it on our platform again.
Yeah.
And
And this
yeah,
is the
so
part where we get to slow down and speed up, right? We don't want your best friend, we don't want your fiance, somebody you're dating to miss this. This is a very great way to get an inside track about what it is to be married in the first year without the actual conflict. So they're giving us an opportunity to kind of pull up the trunk, and, pull up the front of the hood of the car and take a look without you actually having to go through it. So this is a gift. So give a shout out, go ahead and drop a comment and please thank Fatima, thank Levon for opening us up to be able to peer into what it is and what it takes. And it's such a blessing. And it can be scary too. Nobody wants that
yes.
backlash, right? Of social media giving you backlash, but they're doing it just for you because this beautiful couple is all about sharing to help people heal, to have reality checks about what it is. So people not
Mhm.
coming in fantasy and going out in pain, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
absolutely.
you're absolutely right, Focus, because like I said, it's not always roses, rose petals, and
Yeah.
gifts and fairies. It usually it looks completely different
Yeah.
sometimes. And so starting at the point where I left off with taking off my ring.
Mhm.
It was about twice, two times. And the first time that I took it off, it was after a very heated discussion. And, I don't even remember what the argument was, because and that usually what happens in marriage. You argue about the small things,
Yeah.
and you usually don't. It's not even worth arguing about. But we always know that those little arguments tend to turn into bigger issues.
Yeah.
So it was an argument that we had, and I had been, not really having the best days or whatever. So allowing my emotions to kind of take over. Because I believe it was something really small. Do you remember what the argument was, babe?
I actually did.
What was it about?
So the first time she took the ring off. First of all, how you want doing? So I'm gonna be transparent. It was actually after Focus with Focus, and I mentioned about how my wife used the most powerful word that a Black man should never, ever, ever hear. It's the N word.
In your opinion,
in my opinion, I'm not. I don't even like a man. In my opinion, because it's vile, it's disgusting, it's appalling, and it's a whole other thing. But she said it because I acted like the N word, and when you a man, you feel that she attacked you. She called it. That's like the lowest thing you can do to me. And we talked it over, and then she got mad. She had a temper tantrum, threw the ring, and put it down on the table.
So he said it's a temper tantrum,
no,
but
because
I believe it was something that was valid. Not saying that calling your husband or your wife out of their name is valid, because it never is valid. But certainly the issue, I don't remember what the issue was, but certainly it was something that was, small, but that turned into something bigger. And so, I took the ring off because I was questioning, like, is this something that I really want to do? And like you said, we most likely did get out of a conversation with you, Focus. And that's because at this point, like we've told our followers last week, Focus has been there to help us smooth over a lot of issues and expose a lot of things that we didn't recognize that were there. So it probably was a conversation that was had where we were exposed. Me, using the N word or saying that he was acting that way. And then him being hurt, I being hurt, not really hearing each other. And then just recognizing and realizing that this, those emotions that we were experiencing were deeper than what we knew. And it had me realizing I don't necessarily want to grow right now. I don't think that I want to grow or continue to be exposed anymore. And when you and that was a real transparent moment. And so I took the ring off because of two things. My, emotions took over, and I really allowed them to control how I was feeling for the remaining of our entire marriage, which isn't good, because typically when you're in a relationship and you're dealing with issues that are exposing you and that are, things that you would like to hold on to from traumas, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of growing. And, that happened, and I didn't wear my ring for a week, not because of anything that Levon did per se, but because of the traumas that I was experiencing through that small blow up that turned into something big. And I was questioning whether or not this was something that I really wanted to do.
Got that. And that's a big deal, because as you can hear, the emotional charge for Levon about the N-word is his experience. And the reason why I jumped in and said his experience, because sometimes we talk in totality and absolutes. Right. And that in and of itself is a detriment to any relationship when you're talking absolutes. But from my experience, nobody can debate your experience, right? So if that's his experience of the N-word, then we retired the N-word in their household, far as Tina calling it to Levon, even though in her experience, even of the conversation, she said, well, I didn't say you, I said you're acting like one. But it took Levon onto a whole nother level. right?
Mhm.
But also it's easier to minimize people's experience, which again, that's not okay. We want to recognize that's my significant other experience of the situation,
Right.
and it caused
Mhm.
him or her pain, right? But for Fatima, her experience was like, really? That's all that took out of 400 years of being called that? That's all that took. So it was overwhelming to her that that would be a breaking point and that he would have that level, you know, of speaking. And shout out to you. You're so right, Brenda. Brenda said name calling is not good practice. It really isn't, right? Because all of us come into this world eventually asking two questions. Am I enough? And am I lovable? So
Right.
when names calling starts happening, it makes us shrink, right? It really gets us afraid. So I want to just tease that out a little bit more. You said for a whole week. Now that feels like an eternity,
Right.
specifically when you're a newlywed, right? And you're
Mhm.
still establishing, do I want this? And that's a big deal when that comes to your mind. So what did
Mhm.
you do to work through, you know, do I want this? Who did you call? What did that week really look like? Let's tease this out for everybody because it's just not, we're used to sound bites in 30, you know, 7 seconds,
Right.
begin, middle, and end, right? But what did that really feel like for you guys?
So it definitely in the beginning, like I felt like, that was the only way that I can get my point across and making a statement like it really was like a cry for help because it's like I need you to see me and see what I'm experiencing. And then, it was a dramatic um it was dramatic on my part, yes. But for me, it was also a tool. It was like a tool, like an easy tool to use because I know that that would hurt him. And so in the moment, that's what I was trying to do. But then I was also like hiding behind. I was hiding behind the need to grow and even communicate better.
Yeah.
And so for me, you know, that week it took a lot. Like it took a lot emotionally from me. I had to do a lot of praying. I had to do a lot of pouring back into myself, and then also trying to get my husband to forgive me for using that word, allow him to see that I am vulnerable and that this is a vulnerable, this is a new thing for both of us.
Yeah.
So just trying to have those conversations, and not in the sense win his love back, because his love was still there. I want people
Yeah.
to continue to hear that, like, his
Yeah.
love was still there. We did nothing wrong, but when you fight over small things that are petty and then turn bigger, it's like you're working extra hard to try to see each other.
Yeah.
So I definitely did a lot of praying. Um, I have, my community, my sisters, my cousin, who, and my cousin is married, and I talked to her about, how did you manage to deal through your first year of marriage? Because, and it's important that you have a community of people that you can talk to that can give you wise counsel
Yeah.
about how they did it, and then but moreover, I think that prayer, reading my word, definitely helped me to realize, you know it wasn't that deep,
Mhm. Well,
quote
let's
unquote,
yeah,
but
I'm glad you
yeah,
said that quote unquote because
quote unquote,
it was everything to Levon.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
Levon was in a major breakdown. He was really devastated, and as we peel back the layers, it had history with
it
several
did, it
other
did.
people. So most
Hmm.
of the time, when a blow up is happening, it's normally not about that one moment. It's
Right.
usually a stacking of multiple moments of meaning, right? That's happening. But I want to back up because, fellas, you got to hear this. Fatima said it was really a cry for help. Did you hear that, fellas? Most of the time, you got to, with women, we're going to test you. We're going to push back. We're going to see if you're going to stay, if you're going to love us anyway. We're not talking about right or wrong of that right now. That's a whole nother show. But what I want to reveal to is that's what we do. So what
Hmm.
we're looking for is that you standing tall, just like the palm tree that have been way over, but it ain't going nowhere, right?
Right.
So feel free to express yourself, but let her know I love you. This marriage ain't nothing happening with this marriage. We're gonna have this fight and we're gonna have some scrumptious, angry sex afterwards. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part. But but seriously, Women will try to test you, gentlemen, and it's really a cry for help, for you to look her in the eye. I'm not going nowhere, neither are you, and we're going to figure this out, right? It's to push the envelope and to do some testing. Levon, we got to hear from you about that.
Yeah, man. From a man's perspective, for me, when she called me the N-word, I said divorce, because that was like, I heard that all my life from family members and friends and people that were not Black and people that were Black. So when she said it, it was like, wow, she's one of them. So every time someone called me that, I cut them off. It was over, because that's like the lowest thing you could do to me. That's worse than cheating on me. You call me N-word, that you devalued me as a man, my history, my ancestry, all that stuff. So, and when you said that, it was like, wow, she's one of them. Like, I thought she was different, and it was a lot to swallow. It's hard for me to, like, the hard thing was to forgive, but she didn't mention about repentance. You gotta repent. Like, you know what I mean? So, because you don't repent, you do it again, what's the point? So
it's the point of being human, because in that case,
human,
we all will be going to hell right now, because we all repent and ask for forgiveness and still cut up, right?
Right, yeah, right. You got I think you didn't miss about repentance too. So I felt like I was hurt. I felt like I was broken. I felt like it's over. Like, that's like you can lowest what you can do to me. You know what I mean? Like, and I actually went to a couple people. I talked to a couple people about how she called me N-word. I didn't know what to do. Like, I was frustrated. I was stressed out, because like you never thought your wife can call you something lower, like the lowest form of life. You know what I mean? Like, and you know how we react to it. So. It was a time that I had to reassess myself, understand where I was coming from,
right,
and understand the traumas I dealt with that I never dealt with. That's right. And sometimes you gotta know that ain't cool. We can't say that word around me. It does something to me. Like, even though I'm moving forward, but it's like a flashback. Wow, I can't. You got not in this household, because I also want to have peace and joy, not racist comments or something that's offensive, because that's not gonna make your home safe, and that'll make an attraction to someone not attractive. You don't want to give any. You gotta give them. You gotta show consequence for your behavior. You can't reward negative behavior. You can't build negative actions. So,
well, let's slow down for a second and check. We're going to check in on the chat, because we're getting some juicy comments, and you said a lot, and we want to pull this apart, because this is what we needed to do in this session. But notice that some of the wording that you're using is back then too. So this is why we want to be gracious when it comes to repenting and people offending us again, because we all do it, right? We all do it. And this is where grace is, because otherwise, why would Jesus need to die on the cross, right? If we sin one time and ask for forgiveness. So we want to, establish grace. But let's check out what the chat, and we're going to come right back to what you just said here. We said, Brenda said it was it was that deep for Levon, right? It's important to validate your spouse. For Fatima, nigga, what? So many people say that. People say the N-word. It's in their language. It's like past the salt, right? But for Levon, it was, as you heard his description, it's like you offended me, my ancestors, right? So really quick, if you're just chiming in, this is part 2 for Hanging with the Howards. They're actually indulging, they're sharing their heart, they're sharing from their heart, so that you don't have to go through the pain and the devastation of surprise of what it is to be a newlywed. So they're actually sharing some of these deep challenges in that first year for that point, for that purpose. So we just not just, shooting the breeze and telling the tea, right? The goal right here is that you can map it onto your life, right? And then you hear the grace and mercy you want to give one another as you're growing, but also that you need a team of people to help you do that. You heard Levon say he had to call a few people, the team had to call a few people, and then we brought it all into the session. And then I'm gonna read a few things on the chat. And then Lavon, I want you to talk about what did we learn, where that came from in this session. We had to really pull that about.
Right, yeah, because
and really see what it was lost. So Brenda said, when you get married, you have to remember you both have to learn a new language. This is so true. Because you got to learn, for the women, you got to learn how to speak men or man. And for the men, you got to learn how to speak woman. It's a different language. And you could be from the same culture, live on the same block, but it's different set of rules just in the same household. So Lamont, if you're okay with it, we recognize that the N-word from another family member in your life caused a breach in your life for quite some time. Are you feel comfortable sharing with?
Yeah, I feel comfortable. I mean, I got nothing to hide. God knows no testimony. Got nothing to hide. Sure. So basically, about Famer called me N-word, and I ain't talked to that Famer for almost 10 years. So because she was a family member that I loved and appreciated, she supported me growing up. And I was shocked she called me the N-word. I didn't know how to address it at that time. So unfortunately, she passed away 4 years ago, which I didn't know till last year she passed away. So I had to really, really look inside myself, forgive myself, because I could have did the work. I couldn't have done that back then. But back then, I didn't have a network to show me how to address it. So I was doing by myself. I just did the best way I can, was avoid it and just move. Like, I forgave her, but I didn't address it. I didn't talk to her, because sometimes in your relationship, you can forget a person, but not be with them again. So you just, so you can love someone, but love from a distance. So I think looking back, I wish I changed it. I wish I could have addressed it with her at that time, but I ain't had the tools to show me how to address it without being confrontational. So, and then when she called me that, it took me back to my family member and how much damage that caused me and how much pain it caused me, because because it was a lot, because growing up as a Black man, you hear that all day long, and you don't want to associate with that, and you try to do things that compared to what you do. That's why I went hard. I worked with kids. I didn't do drugs. I went to college, graduate. I did everything else to not be better than that work. So when you're someone that you care about, people love you, calling that word, it's like, hey, they didn't see what I was doing. It's like, I feel like I was born on the street, but I was born North Philly, but I wasn't part of the culture. I know we hear that quote every day, but to me, I think it's offensive. I mean, I think so that's it. Now I gotta understand it's part of the culture, but I don't gotta accept it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the sting, and we're from talking that through, we were able to take the sting out of it, recognizing you lost 10 years of being with that person and having that fellowship. You don't want to lose the love of your life for a word, because we give words power. We decide what the power of a word holds, right? So if enough people wanted to make peanut butter a negative word, you just need a social acceptance of peanut butter now meaning something totally different, and there you have it. So do you really want to lose sliding in Fatima DMs, sending her a chef to massage, whining and dining her for one word where she was expressing how you were making her feel? Right? We really had to pull up our sleeves and get it.
And I'm telling you now, I'm being real but transparent. If they had that talk, I would have fouled. If I had no conversations, I would have fouled. That's being truthful and honest. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I wasn't at the point saying it's okay for my wife to use the N-word.
Sure.
So that be, and I was kind of like, I want to stand up for the man and say, look, okay, you divorced or this N-word, but I got so much respect, because of the value and the history of the man. But in reality, I thank God I got the help that I need. I really do, because I know that was my impulse, but it would have been a big mistake I made in my life because of something like that, But it's about growing and learning, because if I had that people like you 10 years ago, I probably would address that and move forward in my life. But that's been like a stay in my life, you know, just
Yes.
people not valuing you and devaluing you for who you really are. And I know people have moments that feel like that, but sometimes if you want to say something, don't say it at all. Just say, I need a break. You know, like, I need a pause for a second. You know,
Absolutely. And then I want to hear from Fatima, because here's the reality, guys. People are going to say things to us. We saw what just happened at the Oscars, right? People are going to say things to us. We determine the level of the meaning. We're not going to like go all into that tonight, right? Because there's just so much to unpack about that. But this is a great way to mirror real life. This is a real couple. This is a real man that got triggered from the N word and went to the D word as a result of the N word, right? Exactly. Which we banned that from this relationship. Yes, guys. That's not an option. It's not an option. It's not on the anymore. Right. And Fatima, it took a lot for Fatima, because Fatima was like, all I said was, right? It was just like, it was night and day as I'm sitting there and it's unfolding and I'm listening to these two beautiful souls who earnestly love each other. But all of the history for Levon got in the way. And as he so graciously just said, and it was such a beautiful turning point when I saw it happen in the session, when he got, wait a minute, I'm getting ready to lose my wife for the N-word? And right. For 400 years of slavery, we weren't even there, right? Right. And I'm getting ready to give up the love of my life for the N-word, right? And we begin to help peel back and lose its sting, right?
It's a hard thing. It's definitely not to hear from. You like that, like especially like if I call her the B word, I know it will do something to her. So you know, like so you know, so I don't know what repercussions from that. So
yeah,
you know, a lot, but I think her understand. Like me understand my triggers, my pain. I was like, wow, I had to let this go. I got somehow deal with it, but I don't gotta accept it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, what you want to say, Fatima?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that, and I'm so glad that we're having this conversation, and even after what we just experienced with the Oscars, it's so relevant because clearly this is very. It runs deep for my husband, right? And for me, in the moment, when everything happened, you're right, Focus, you hit it on the nose. For me, it was like, what? Like, if you acting like it, I'm going to call you it, right? Mm-hmm. And I couldn't remain in that. I couldn't keep that same indignation, because when I married Levon, I married all of Levon. And it is my priority as his wife to help him unpack those things and help myself realize and unpack the things that I deal with and struggle with. And it's important for me, because it's important for him, to do the work that I need to do to understand where this comes from. And so the moment where it even though it hurt to know that we divorce is it, like this it, we done, even though those words hurt, but for me, I had to hear that you're acting like a nick, and the N word, it hurt just as much to him. Mm-hmm. So I had to understand that, and I had to do the work to get him to understand that we're giving this word too much power, but also just as much as we're giving this word too much power, I have to respect the fact that it is your reality. And I had to really sit myself in that. And I could have continued on saying, well, if having that attitude, like, well, if you acting like you're going to get called that and all of that, I could have continued that, but that would have honestly made the situation worse. It would have made the situation or our relationship worse, because it's saying, well, you don't care about what I'm dealing with. You don't care about, the things that hurt me or that make me or what I've experienced. And as my wife, I'm expecting you to kind of help me figure these things out. Help me, and I think that because I was so willing to put myself in his place and hear how it hurt him, I think that was why he was able to have that revelation about, you know what, I do give this
Yeah.
word power. I do, I lost 10 years, with my family member, and I could have done this. I could have, should have, would have. And so I think that it's important for women. It's important for you to understand your men, and it's important your man, and it's important for you to get into their world. Like Focus
Yeah.
always says, get into their world. You might be valid in the point that you made, but it doesn't matter if it's hurting them.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
doesn't matter if at the end of the day, all he's going to remember is you called me the N word. And so you have to get into their world and understand. And then in you doing that, and I just believe, because I am a woman of faith, in me doing that and praying, it wasn't just me, you know, going to Focus. No, I went to God and said, Lord, I need you to soften my husband's heart. I need you to allow him to hear. I even found some documentaries on Netflix. I was watching a documentary on Netflix. Um, and one of the guys that was speaking was he studied linguistics, and he did a whole session on the N word. And I shared that with Levon.
Mhm.
And, so I feel like God was giving me tools. He
Yeah.
gave I prayed about it. He gave me tools. And then
Yeah.
it was like an aha moment that we had in our session. So, and I still recognize, because it's not going to go away overnight.
Yes.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to go away overnight. So it's a constant reminding. It's a constant putting ourselves in each other's shoes. Is a constant that is constantly happening.
Yes.
But I think that me and Levon both feel that we don't, we just want to be better at communicating, and we want to have a real love, so that our viewers, our supporters can see, listen, you're going to have these crazy situations that might seem small to somebody else, but to y'all it's big. But how are you going to deal with those issues definitely matters for the longevity of your relationship.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Guys, you hear this wisdom? This is a couple that's only a year old. And as we established last time, many couples don't even get to this point, because without these type of tools, without the desire to want to know and like the seeking of, you can get so stopped. This kind of level of upset and bitterness could have ended the relationship. And even if it didn't end the relationship and maybe some family and friends talked them into staying together, doesn't mean that the relationship would have resolved, the issue would have resolved. So the anger, the upset would have still remained there, going on from year to year with more bitterness,
Exactly.
right? More poking of
Exactly.
the holes of the souls. So it's so important that have a life coach, to have a therapist, to have someone on a weekly basis. That first 2 years, the check-in is real, because
Yeah.
it go from high to low
No.
so quickly. So let's talk about anything else either one of you want to add to that before we move on to the next topic. Either one of you want to add anything to that?
Also, I think you gotta acknowledge your faults, acknowledge what your shortcomings are, and acknowledge that you need help. So a lot of times we suffer and not help. We suffer in silence, but we also suffer in not asking, because of lack of trust, lack of understanding, or lack of trust in people that you can confide to.
Yeah.
That God maybe send you to, but you feel like you can't do it. So
Yeah.
for me, I struggle with communication. I suck at communication. Because for one, this is the longest relationship I've ever been with. I we have friends like that, that constantly talk to me, encourage me. You need to think about this. You need to not be so simple. You know how to talk this way. I never had that.
And then
So
you struggle. It's struggle
my
with your
struggle, my
speech.
speech, my whole life, it's still a struggle right now. Being 4 years old, it's still a struggle. So it's like, so I had a long struggle. I've dealt with therapy, with speech therapy, now mental health therapy, for pretty much almost over 30 years. So trying to find that voice that I'm still struggling with, because it's hard for me, because of myself, or sometimes I think irrationally, I think off the wall, but trying to make sense, because I think it stems from also I had a head injury while I was 6 years old. it kind of threw my brain cells a little differently. So now I kind of understand, okay, I know I think like this because I do a little differently. So it's basically, you gotta ask for help. You got to ask for help. And people that they'll show you, they'll check on you and make sure you're good. Because especially as a man, as a woman, you need people that gonna really love you and check on you on a regular basis, not when they bored, but that's periodic checking. So you good? What's going on? They're not gonna they won't accept, hey, are you okay? No, they'll ask you, hey, what's going on? Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying? Why is it sound stressed out? They want to open those layers so that the real conversation will come from. So I think
wonderfully said. And I want to say, you don't suck in communication, right, Fatima?
No, I do. No, I do because like she gets frustrated, she gets mad at me and before I'm responding. So I'm hard myself, and I do suck.
Okay, well, let me pause you for a second. As a love and life coach, we got to clean that up, right? We got to change the channel. We got to change the TV. The TV, the letters stand for transformational vocabulary.
Okay.
Our words create our world, right? What you focus on is expanded. Fatima would not be your wife if you sucked in communication.
Exactly. I was about to say that. Like,
what would you like to say to your husband right now, Fatima, in regards to his communication?
Yes, no, babe. It's you don't suck at communication. It's just sometimes it takes you more time to get it out or to understand what's happening. But you absolutely don't suck at communication. Trust me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You would have this beautiful wife that is behind you with Romans, Path to Greatness, Men's Talk, right? All that she does to support you. She wouldn't be able to believe in you the way she does if you sucked in communication, right?
But can I say something, Focus? Please. Can I say something? And this is, this I just love that we are able to be this real and transparent on this platform, because as you can see, y'all, we're just two young people that love each other, that we stood before God and made this covenant. But as you can see, we have issues, we have things that we are dealing with, whatever. But I would love to just share that the issues that we experience in our lives, just whether you're in a relationship or not, are issues that can run deep and they can have a hold on you should you not have someone to talk to. So I really want to stress the importance of going to seek help, whether it's therapy, whether it's a love and life coach. Like, it's important if you recognize that something is not lining up with, I keep coming against the wall, whatever the case may be. I really want to advocate for those people that have a hard time communicating, or you have some insecurities. It is very important for you to not suffer alone, to not suffer in silence. So I definitely just want to keep putting that plug in, because it is, there is especially amongst our community of people, we are dealing with things that we do not have to deal with. And some of them are spiritual, but a lot of them are natural. And there are things that you don't have to carry. You don't have to carry. So I just really want to stress that. But I also want to say that when we marry, a lot of people would say that we did it fast or whatever the case may be. But just understanding, and I said it last week, I'm committed to this covenant. I am committed to the covenant. And I think that when we have that perspective, when you have that idea, yes, issues are going to rise up. But when you're committed to someone, you are committing to helping them grow. You're committed to helping them see the light, see the end of the road. You're committed to allowing them to have moments like the ones that we have, and then saying, you know what, because I love you, I'm gonna love you through this. And this is not going to be something that that's going to have a chokehold on our relationship. Because I could easily say, you know what, Levon, this is too much, you got too much going on, and I can walk away. But because I'm committed to the covenant, he's committed to the covenant. whatever issues that may seem so deep for us individually. I have my issues too. Because we're committed to it, we're going to work through it with each other. And so that is, for me, that's what I realize my assignment is as wife, as helpmate. I understand that so much more now. So much more now, because I understand who my husband is. I completely get what he comes with. I completely understand. And I know, because I believe that this was ordained by God. So I know that I know that the Lord is going to give me the resources and the tools and even the emotions to be able to deal with it. In the moments, I might not be able to understand it completely, and I might, act naturally as I should, but I'm committed. And I just want people to understand that when you're committed, you gotta work through that thing. You got to work through that thing, y'all. So if you're newly engaged, married, and sometimes these issues are not only for newly married people, these are issues that you're going to experience in your, longer marriages. They're going to come up, but you have to make sure that you have what you need to get through those seasons.
Beautifully put. Let's check out the chat and see what people are saying. Brenda saying honoring each other's feelings is so very important. We want men to be vulnerable, yet sometimes we won't allow for their feelings. This is so true. Many times
so true.
Levon would get in the session and blurt out something, and Fatima would be like, where did that come from? Right. And it doesn't mean that Fatima would shut him down or not. This was a safe place.
Safe space.
So he was able to feel comfortable and blurt it out and just get it out real quick and go. And it's like wait for the ship to blow up, right? But inside of our safe place, we were able to navigate both of their feelings, emotion, and keep creating a safe place. Also, one of the gifts that, and listen, Fatima is amazing when it comes to resources and really, really getting her space and getting how she's being. So I would give her a recording of our session and tell her to don't put the audio on, just watch Levon. Watch how he's watching you and feeding off of you. Ladies, men live to make us happy. So when we not happy, we irate, upset, they feel like crap.
Yeah.
That's just the reality, right? So that's why we gotta have a place where we can dump off. So you need your girlfriends, you still need your best friend, you still need your girls' night out, because all of that makes you whole so that we can actually take in one another. One of the things we needed to help Levon was, again, as we talked about, have that village. So it wasn't too much pressure on Fatima. I told Fatima, I got you. That's your husband, you ordained, and you can't be his everything.
Exactly.
It's not fair to you. Levon, you need to get in therapy, because it's not fair to Fatima. You can't come home and dump on her every day, and then she's supposed to swing from the vines and cook dinner, right?
And I don't know if people remember. Remember, I wasn't a fully on the advocate train for mental health, so I was willing to kind of deal with it all, right? But that was the best advice that our loving life coach can give us, because we start noticing the change even in our sessions. And he would say, oh, I brought this up in therapy, and he told me this. And I would start seeing him respond in different ways, even in the home. And I'm like, thank you, Lord.
Absolutely, because he had another safe place to say blah, get it all out, and have the therapist reframe it, deal with his past. So when he came into our sessions, he was ready to create love and legacy, right? Because he had already dealt with a lot of the shadows back out there. So God's gifts, Levon some hearts, give Fatima some hearts and some love, drop some comments, because that really took something. And that took a lot to go away. I need somebody else to, like, yes, you do. You need to get this out, because your wife can't be your therapist. Yes, Levon.
Right, your husband can't be a therapist either. So I realized your husband can't solve everything. Correct. You gotta learn how to solve things yourself, whether it's the spiritual creator, God, whether your friends, you gotta get help. You know what I mean? You have to understand that as you get problems come, you gotta get more help, because the devil is busy. I'm telling you, for
he
those
don't want you to win.
Right.
The devil don't want you
I'm
to
telling
win
you, for those who are engaged, I'm telling you, get a life coach now. Start therapy now before marriage. I'm telling you, I'm not, we are telling you from experience, the devil will come after you say I do. I'm telling you, I'm just being real with y'all. You just gotta get help, you know, and also provide value for your husband and wife. Say something positive all the time. They don't want to hear negative. You're doing this wrong. They're gonna shut you down. They don't want to give you any. So they won't give you none.
This is the second time we do that out there, folks.
They won't give you any. If you call them, hey, you stupid, or you bad, you act like a little kid. Most men or women would not go respond. Say, you call me no kid, I ain't give you none. So what? You call me no kid. So I'm like, so you gotta understand. You gotta provide words of value to uplift them. That's and not encourage them.
That's exactly right. So here's one of the games we were playing, which is called the Alphabet of Love. And how do you play this game, especially in bed when you're laying at night, but just in general, you can text it back to each other. So for instance, Fatima texts and go, A is for awesome. Levon, you are awesome. He'll go B is for beautiful. Fatima, you're beautiful. These are ways to speak adjective lives into your spouse in a fun way. You can do that as you spooning in bed, saying that to each other. And it doesn't necessarily have to lead to sex. It's really just to comfort each other's heart and connect. So that's one of the lighthearted ways to, to play that game so you can hear each other. But anytime you can hear each other, brag and boast, you want to do that. Also, Levon and Fatima, they did the 5 love languages so they can know how to love each other and pour into each other, what matters and what makes the difference, right? And so that's part of the practice as well. I see y'all getting lots of hearts in the chat here. And Brenda said the willingness for you both to get help will serve your marriage well. Absolutely. So trying to do this on your own is just really not possible. And I'm not saying that because I am a love and life coach and I would love to take you on. If you're listening, you're saying, well, Focus, I would like to see if we can get some help. Just feel free, reach out to me at focusjames.com. Say I met you on Hanging with the Howards and we'll chat it up and get you guys, connected and get the support. But I earnestly mean that because you get overwhelmed with all of your stuff coming up. And you're looking at the other person with all of their stuff coming up. I'm going to share this with you guys.
And it doesn't matter if you're a strong person, because that was my excuse. I'm a strong woman. I can handle it. But I'm telling y'all, Focus, she has what you need, okay? She got what you need.
That's just mango water. That's just mango. I'm not over here getting lit on the live. That's just mango water. That's all that is. But thank you so much, Fatima. So I want y'all to hear where they are. When they first came, I don't know that they was at this first. They never started at this first level. The first level is I'm here to get mine, right? There's 3 levels to marriage. I'm here to get mine. The second one is that you better, the first one is I'm here to get mine. The second one is I hope you get yours because I'm getting mine. The third one is I'm here to serve you.
Yes.
I'm here to pour into you. That's a whole nother maturation and love and a depth to that. When you really get, she said, I'm here to, to honor the covenant and I've been ordained to be your wife. Woo! Can you hear that? Yeah, wonder why she got married so bad. He said, let me get her off the market right now, right? I'm ordained to be your wife. I'm ordained to be your husband. A whole nother framework. It's not just about me, and what I can get out, but how can I pour into you and help you on your journey, your path? So let's bring it on home. We got about 10 minutes. There was a second time that you took the ring off and there was a situation. Tell us about that, Fatima.
Yeah, so the second time, Lord, that time I actually threw my ring. I felt like I threw it.
Yeah, you threw it on the couch. You threw it at me for no reason.
So realizing that, how you think you're over something and you're not over something, and you kind of, you push stuff under the rug, right? And so while Levon is going to his therapy and everything, I was not. I was just doing the sessions with you. And I realized that there are things that I still was holding on to. And you know, the way, because my husband is so passionate, I was misunderstanding a lot of what he was saying, you know, or I didn't understand the intention behind what he was saying. And it was just a lot of things that I was dealing with my job, you know, insecurities within myself on, am I doing this right? Am I getting it right? And then it was kind of just stopping with our Monday sessions. It wasn't me really delving deep inside of myself. And so you had recommended, he was recommending that I speak to somebody, you know, and so then I made a decision to do one-on-one sessions with you and really, you know, get to the depths of what some of the things that and some of the aggravation that I was developing because of, you know, characteristic flaws or whatever the case may be. And again, I don't understand the argument. It obviously was something small. Like I don't really remember what the argument was, but I was to the I got to the point where I was like, I'm overwhelmed. And I'm so glad that you used that word, because the overwhelming feeling that I was experiencing was just too much. And I was like, I'm willing to just end it all. Like, take this ring, let's go get that paperwork, let's go file that divorce, because it's just too much, like too much for me. And it was, again, just a cry for help.
It was a cry for help. Second time, gentlemen. Second time, gentlemen. Cry for help. And ladies, cry for help. So most of the time, your significant other really don't want a divorce and end it. They really saying, somebody help me, please. You know that 2-year-old stretched out in Rite Aid because you didn't give them that Snickers all on the floor. Adults still do that. The inner little girl of Fatima that felt overwhelmed. And Fatima, we realized when we started looking around, you were overwhelmed with the job. You were overwhelmed with girlfriend relationships. Because where one thing happens, it's normally in a lot of other places.
Exactly. Right? It seemed like everything else around me was crumbling. And then, you know, me and my husband is arguing over the remote. So I chose to, all of those issues, that was a hypothetical, babe. That was hypothetical. We didn't argue over the remote, but that was a hypothetical. But no, I just chose that moment to allow everything that's just to kind of blow up. And because, like you always say, the people closest to you, you try to hurt the most. So he's the closest thing to me. It's easy. He's the closest thing to me. And it's like, because it was a cry for help, I'm like, you know what? That's it. This is the last time you raise your voice, and this is it. We can't, you know. And so that's what that was.
That's
and
right.
So
because
you
that
help.
that was one of your triggers. That when LaVon raised your trigger for raising a voice was his equivalent of the N-word.
Yes, exactly.
So you can imagine, and y'all know LaVon loud on a good day. Just
yes,
because,
he is.
Right? So that's just part of his personality.
I kind of know I know what you're talking about now. She was like, I said something about angry black woman, and that was a trigger for her. So like the N word for me, that if I say that, it's over. Like so I was meaning in context, she was coming off as an angry black woman because her tone was angry. I wasn't because that fell off. I think that was
So in my eyes, it's the same situation as me calling you.
Right.
It's equivalent. It's all equivalent. It's all equivalent. It's all equivalent.
Yeah.
But what you helped me to realize that you honed in on the fact, like understanding the intention behind what's being said.
Yes.
And then you also helped me understand that I can control the atmosphere that I'm in based on how I'm looking at the situation at hand. So you had me do activities where I, had to walk around and speak life into myself. Even though the day may be going crazy, but you had me reassure myself that I can do all things, that I can, I can make it through this day. This does not determine
Yeah.
my emotion. This does not dictate my day. I have the joy of the Lord. You help me understand those things. You
Yeah.
help me to understand, how I can use my femininity to say things in a different way. You help me to see that, that when I use my femininity, it will help Levon, to be able to us to handle situations in a different light.
That's
So
exactly. Yes.
it was, never did I really truly want to get a divorce. That was never, I had to kind of sit in that, I had to have that conversation with God, like,
Yes.
and with myself, like, do you really want to walk away? Is it really that bad? And to me, it just wasn't. To me, it just wasn't. But I can say with all of the tools that you gave me, helped me to realize that it's okay to woo-side. Then you also helped me realize you don't have to talk about everything right then and there. You can walk away. I still struggle with that a little bit because I try to, I'm like, I want to come to a resolve right now,
Yeah.
but I understand that he don't work like that. He don't work like that.
Boundaries.
So listen, we're a work in progress, but
Sure.
I definitely feel like focus.
Mhm.
But I'm just gonna keep saying, listen, plug into somebody that you know, that you trust, and somebody that has the skill set to help you to see from a different perspective. Because
Yeah.
honestly, that's what it is. It's a mind shift that has to happen. And I don't care what your religion is. I don't care how long you've been married. I don't care if you think that you know it all.
Yeah. So help us God.
Having someone else that is unbiased and can help you look at the situation from a different perspective is always good. It's always good. And of course, I'm a woman of faith, so I'm definitely I'm going to check all those boxes. The enemy not going to come up in our home and think that he's going to run and rule up in this place, because that's no. And I understand that. But I also understand that God gave people like you. God gave people like therapists, tools and resources that can help lead to a juicy life. And listen, y'all, and Levon says it all the time, you're not crazy for going to go get help.
I know that's right.
You are
I'll be creating a better life for yourself.
Yes, you're not crazy at all. And don't let pride or embarrassment. Listen, we both could be faking it. We both could say, listen, I'm gonna keep my issues and my traumas to myself, and we just gonna do hanging with the Howards. And no. I mean, I think that's one reason why, Focus saw that hanging with the Howards was going to be good for us, because it was something that we can do together. But also, listen, we're going to be 100% with y'all. We're going to keep it real, and we're going to let you know that we're in this thing, because we understand marriage is work, but it's a good work if you allow it to be.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. It's the number one relationship that can make or break a person, because it mirrors us. It's the closest to what you're going to see who you are, which can be very confrontational to realize, wow, I'm nagging. Or boy,
exactly.
Right? Or boy, I blow right up. I didn't even know that part of myself, right? So it can be very confrontational, because it's like a 24/7 workshop. Let's check in the chat really quick. Brenda said, learning when to talk is just as important as knowing what to say. When in doubt, wait it out. Hold your peace to keep the peace. I love that. Thank you. Listen to all those great sound bites. And here's Victoria by Design, which is Adrian. She actually is holding up the chat. So any questions?
Yes, thank you.
This is also still indicative to the anniversary. So anyone that want to do any donations, you could definitely do it straight to Path to Greatness, which is their nonprofit where they help children get ready for school. They do workshops, get books and supplies. So you're welcome to do that. So Adrian, if you could drop their cash app in there so they can donate. And Adrian said they're dropping some tools. They're dropping some tools, in the nuggets that they're unpacking is outstanding. And what Fatima was describing earlier was called incantation. So it's one thing to do affirmations, so all good. But what you want to do is synchronize the body, soul, and spirit by dancing, singing, snapping your fingers, all I need is within me now. Hey, all I need is within me now. Right? Creating an affirmation slash incantation, something you can dance and sing to. Because when you're happy, when you dancing and moving your body to whatever it is that you're saying, you're synchronizing your heart and your mind. This is why some people, they don't prefer affirmation because it make them feel crazy when they go, I'm rich, I'm wealthy, I'm healthy. Like, I don't feel rich and I don't feel healthy and wealthy, right? But being able to synchronize your body and groove to it, it tells the mind and the body, this is what's happening right now in the moment. And it gives you joy to be able to step into the action that you're speaking about. So that's what Fatima was talking about, because we're going to all feel overwhelmed at some point, and it's just going to feel like our life is spiraling down. So how do you shift yourself in that very moment and be able to take action so your life can be juicy now, not on your next anniversary, on your next Bahamas trip, or when he finally brings you flowers? No, you get to choose to be happy because you choose to be happy. It's not circumstantial based off of what your spouse does and doesn't
exactly
do, right?
That's perfect.
Right?
See, y'all need to get with focus, okay? that is it in a nutshell. Yeah. That is it. And you choose to be happy because you choose to be happy.
Yeah. Because if we're waiting for our spouses, it's just not fair to wait for your spouse to make you happy, satisfied, whole, complete. To a certain degree, there's components of that we have responsibility as a spouse, but overall, it's your duty to make sure your mental health is in place, that your relationship with your God is in place, that your purpose you're walking in, that your job is fulfilling to you. That is not something you can get on the outside of you. Exactly. Those are things that come from within. And giving this beautiful couple that responsibility, we all have responsibility. Chris Rock got responsibility. He said too much, too many times. Yes. And Will had a responsibility. He felt a righteous indignation, like, really, you're going to do it again 10 feet away from me? He has responsibility because now he got consequences. So you got to decide in every moment, who am I and whose am I?
Oh, yes, yes.
But some things you can't come back from. But we want to thank you, Fatima and Levon. You came back from giving up the ring twice in your anger and upset. They've been here faithfully every Monday from 8:30 to 9:30. They come in here. Levon takes his nap. We're going to have some t-shirts about Levon taking his nap.
I took my nap to focus. I took a nap today too. He had to wake me up. Like, come on, baby, gotta give it. I'm like, oh goodness, yes, that nap was getting right good too.
We have an ongoing joke about Levon taking his opposite. Fatima, let that man take his nap. He's a different person if you don't take that
It's nap. So bad that my clients even know Levon, he gonna go take his nap. Yep, he's gonna take his nap.
And he peaceful. This is how he woosah. This is how he gets the day off of him and regulate his mind. You got to study your spouse, ladies. You got to study your spouse, gentlemen, and allow them to get their needs met the way they need to get them met in a healthy way. Well, Fatima and Levon, we thank you so much for opening up again and sharing. This could be so vulnerable. For some people, they're like, there's no way I would have ever told that. That's okay. They're your mouthpiece now. They've been chosen by God, and they've been taking the responsibility to share from their heart, from their relationship, to be an example to you. So it's okay that you don't share, and it's okay that you don't do your testimony. What is not okay is that you don't take these tools and still suffer in silence. That's what's not okay. What's not okay is that you hear and you think about that sister and that brother you know you need to share this video with, and you don't. That's what's not okay. So hit like, hit share. Go ahead and donate to this wonderful organization called Path to Greatness that's ran by Fatima and Levon, so they can help these children get back to school. I know you're like, well, we in school now. They also do workshops. They go into the school and do workshops, do Zooms with the family. Shout out to Adrian, who has helped Levon do the Zoom.
Yes.
She's beautiful. Shout out to Brenda, who's donated to Couples in Cahoots for the couples to do things. So we have a family and a village here, and we want you to be a part of it. So hit subscribe. Drop a nugget. Tell us, what did you get out of this? What did LaVon say that really stuck to you? What did Fatima say, or myself, or Brenda dropping nuggets, Agent? We want to hear from you, because we're not just here to hear ourselves. We want to make sure that you're growing, and they're spending they newlywed joint. You know, there is a lot they could be doing on a Sunday evening, right? So listen, let them know you appreciate their time, and I'm gonna turn it over to both of you to give us a last, 60 seconds of what you want to share with your family.
Yes, I've been raised like 10 minutes. I'll raise my hand.
I didn't even see you raise your hand.
I like this.
I am so sorry. I apologize. I did not see you, LaVon.
You said something about suffering in silence. You need help with dealing with trauma. Contact Adrian Collins Bay for that. She's famous for saying that. Do not suffer in silence. Contact Adrian for that as well. If y'all want a part 3, let us know, because I know we get all the questions, but I hope that this is providing value for all of you, that helping someone and inspiring someone. Like Focus said, share the video, like, subscribe to our channel, comment on it. Don't be a hater, be a lover. So
I would just like to end and just say thank you again to you, Focus, just for rocking with us, and being so generous with your wisdom, and so generous with sharing with us. And we just really appreciate you for that. And just thank you to our subscribers, to our village, to the people that we love. Thank you so much, because without you, there wouldn't be a Hanging with the Howards, or people that we can share with or listen, that want to listen.
Wait. It's about God. We were about God. God.
Well, yes, man. Yes, man.
God gives the vision to put out here. They describe to the disciples to come follow us.
Definitely that. So tell us what God has in store for us next from Hanging with the Howards. What events you guys got coming up?
Yeah, so we're planning right now. We're putting together a bowling event. Yeah. And listen, we've been hearing from our single family, our single supporters, and they're like, when are y'all going to do something for us? So you know what? We are making this bowling event. We're going to have it for the couples, but we're also going to make it like a singles mixer for our singles to come together. And you may not know, it might be at this event where you can meet your husband or your wife. Yeah. So we're putting that together now, planning that together. That's going to be in June. So more details to follow with that. And then we have some exciting events that we're trying to put together for 2023.
And also we are planning to do a workshop, a forum called Let It Go, Forgiveness. Woo! Wait! I'm telling you that that suffering's on my mind. Let's call Let It Go, because we hold on to stuff. We don't know how to let it go. So we're gonna try and do it. We're gonna try to do a one-day workshop where couples could come, let it go. Let go of their trauma, let go of their feelings, let go of their pain in one workshop, so they could be better partners to their husband and wives. So I'm excited about that, because I really want to do a workshop on mental health focus, because mental health is a real issue in our community.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Howards, we thank you again for sharing. Brenda said, thank you guys so much for sharing. We appreciate it. So did Victoria by Design, which is Adrian, said, thank you so much for sharing. Guys, this is it for us tonight. Let us know if you want a part 3 or a specific topic that you want us to talk about. Maybe how they actually met, to like really hear the love story and how all of that evolved. Or you might want to hear, what is their vision? How do they come up with these visions, or what's their vision for the next year? Let us know in the comments down below. Also on the Facebook page, Hanging with the Howards, you could drop a message there and say, hey guys, I saw you there. And you might want to drop it privately. So feel free to message LaVon Howard or Fatima Howard on Facebook directly and go, hey, I do have a question, and we're here to serve you, right, guys?
Yes.
We're here to make sure that you get the love that they have, and that you have that camaraderie, and that it's God-centered, right? So with that, guys, we say good night and have a blessed night. Like and share this. You already have somebody on mind to share it with. Do that right now. Don't get distracted. Bless their heart.
Yeah.
And check on someone. Check on someone that you love, that you're thinking about. Ask them if they're okay. Tell them that you see them. So let's make sure you check on them. Make sure that someone on your mind, check on them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. We
All
love
right.
y'all. Have a good night.